The son of a stonemason, he received a technical education and became a military engineer. He rose rapidly through the ranks to become first an officer and finally a janissary commander, with the honorific title of Sinan. He refined his architectural and engineering skills while on campaign with the janissaries, becoming expert at constructing fortifications of all kinds, as well as military infrastructure projects, such as roads, bridges, and aqueducts. At about the age of 50, he was appointed as chief royal architect, applying the technical skills he had acquired in the army to the creation of fine religious buildings and civic structures of all kinds. He remained in this post for almost 50 years. His masterpiece is the Selimiye Mosque in Edirne, although his most famous work is the Suleiman Mosque in Istanbul. He headed an extensive governmental department and trained many assistants who, in turn, distinguished themselves, including Sedefkar Mehmed Agha, architect of the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, and Mimar Sinan, architect of the Stari Most. He is considered the greatest architect of the classical period of Ottoman architecture and has been compared to Michelangelo, his contemporary in the West. Michelangelo and his plans for St. Peter's Basilica in Rome were well known in Istanbul, since Leonardo da Vinci and he had been invited, in 1502 and 1505 respectively, by the Sublime Porte to submit plans for a bridge spanning the Golden Horn. Mimar Sinan's works are among the most influential buildings in history. His birth is variously placed in 1489, 1490, 1491, or between 1494 and 1499. According to contemporary biographer, Mustafa Çelebi, Sinan was born in 1489, 1490 according to the Encyclopaedia Britannica, 1491 according to the Dictionary of Islamic Architecture, and sometime between 1494 and 1499, according to the Turkish professor and architect Riyaguni. With the name Joseph. His origin is disputed. His family was either Armenian, Cappadocian Albanian, Jewish, or Christian Turkish in a small town called Agirnes near the city of Kayseri in Anatolia, as stated in an order by Sultan Selim II. According to the Encyclopaedia Britannica, Sinan had either Armenian. One argument that lends credence to his Armenian or Greek background is a decree by Selim II dated Ramadan, ca. December 30, 1573, which grants Sinan's request to forgive and spare his relatives from the general exile of Kayseri's Orthodox communities to the island of Cyprus. This decree was published in the Turkish Journal, June 1930 to May 1931. Godfrey Goodwin stated that after the Ottoman conquest of Cyprus in 1571, when Selim II decided to repopulate the island by transferring Rum families from the Karaman Eyalet, Sinan intervened on behalf of his family and obtained 2 orders from the Sultan in council exempting them from deportation. A few scholars hold that Sinan had possible Albanian or Jewish origin. A local tradition in the village of Shiroka Laka holds that Sinan was of Bulgarian origin and his family came from that village. Turkish scholars believe that Sinan's family was Christian Turkish. Sinan grew up helping his father in his work, and by the time that he was conscripted would have had a good grounding in the practicalities of building work. There are 3 brief records in the library of Topkapi Palace, dictated by Sinan to his friend and biographer Mustafa Çelebi. In these manuscripts, Sinan divulges some details of his youth and military career. His father is referred to as Abdülmenin, a title which was commonly used in the Ottoman period to define the non-Muslim father of a Muslim convert. His training as an army engineer gave Sinan an empirical approach to architecture rather than a theoretical one. But the same can be said of the great Western Renaissance architects, such as Brunelleschi and Michelangelo. Various sources state that Sinan was the architect of at least 374 structures, which included 92 mosques, 52 small mosques, messet, 55 schools of theology, madris, 7 schools for Quran reciters, Darul Qura, 20 mausoleums, turb, 17 public kitchens, imarat, 3 hospitals, daressafa, 6 aqueducts, 10 bridges, 20 caravanserais, 36 palaces and mansions, 8 vaults, and 48 baths. Sinan held the position of chief architect of the palace, which meant being the overseer of all construction work of the Ottoman Empire, for nearly 50 years, working with a large team of assistants consisting of architects and master builders. The development and maturing stages of Sinan's career can be illustrated by 3 major works. The first 2 of these are in Istanbul, the Selimiye Mosque, which he calls a work of his apprenticeship period, and the Suleiman Mosque, which is the work of his qualification stage. The Selimiye Mosque in Edirne is the product of his master stage. Sinan died in AH 996, 1587–88 CE, and is buried in a tomb in Istanbul, a turb of his own design, just to the north of the Suleiman Mosque, across a street named Mimar Sinan Caddesi in his honor. He was buried near the tombs of his greatest patrons, Sultan Suleiman I and Sultana Haseki Hürrem, Suleiman's wife. Above the iron-grilled prayer window of his tomb is an epitaph written in Ottoman Turkish by the poet Mustafa Say. It gives the year of his death and records that Sinan built 400 masjids, small mosques, 80 Friday mosques, and the Kanuni Sultan Suleiman Bridge at Büyükçekmece. During his tenure during 50 years of the post of imperial architect, Sinan is said to have constructed or supervised 476 buildings, 196 of which still survive, according to the official list of his works, the Tezkiratu Elebni. He could not possibly have designed them all, but he relied on the skills of his office. He took credit and the responsibility for their work. For, as a janissary, and thus a slave of the Sultan, his primary responsibility was to the Sultan. In his spare time, he also designed buildings for the chief officials. He delegated to his assistants the construction of less important buildings in the provinces.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe in channel, like and share.